Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? This is Jacques Kepner on Jacques Talks. Here it is on a Wednesday, July 10th, 1 o'clock in the afternoon or shortly thereafter. It's a overcast, warm day here in Crescent City, California and region. I want to thank you for tuning in to KFUG 101.1 FM on your dial and streaming at kfugradio.org. Also, a big shout out to those that are listening in KZZH in the Arcata, Eureka region, just south of us. Hey, I want to put out a note to those folks that are listening. If you have an interesting character down there that wouldn't mind coming up to Crescent City one Wednesday, anytime, any Wednesday, every Wednesday we get a different guest on, then please send them my way. You can reach out to me on Facebook, and it's Jacques, Jacques, like Jacques Cousteau, and the last name is Kepner, K-E-P as in Paul, N-E-R, and I would be happy to friend you, and then we can go from there. You can introduce me to those people, yourself maybe, or those folks you know that are real characters that are making a difference in our community. And we have had over the past year and I think 3-4 months that I've been on the air here at KFUG, had so many interesting people. Just had so many interesting tales told, people's stories. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a story. And we've just uncovered some incredible, interesting, talented people that excel at what they do best here on Jacques Talks. So, yeah, reach out to me. Give me a nudge. Give me a friend request or something like that. And then we could go from there. I have a thing I would love to talk to today with you today that's going to take about a half hour. It's a prologue. It's a solo show for me today here on KFUG, Jacques Talks. But I did reach out to Jamie Daugherty, and Jamie is the CEO of Coastal Hospice. And she has been on the show once before, I think about 6 months ago. So we're going to have her on. She's coming in at 1:30. And we will have her on to talk about coastal hospice and its importance in our society, hospice in general. I know anybody over 50 should know, have dealt with hospice at one point or another, and it is a phenomenal, necessary, noble cause, and it helps people immensely on their walk through life and entering into the realm of death, and those around them that care for them, that are left behind. It's invaluable. It is mystical and esoteric and wonderful and all these other things, but it is something that we will all deal with someday. And I am an advocate and a supporter of hospice because of what they do. I have walked through the path with them on multiple people in my life that have passed the rainbow, and we are better people because of hospice. So Jamie Daugherty will be in about a half hour from now. I want to thank all the people listening, all the usual culprits, Kelly and Jaden and Jared and Grant and Vera. And then there's Dave, and there's Bob, and then there is Dr. Sherry in Marshall, Missouri, along with her sidekick, Chris Nelson. Hey, you two. Rebecca, you might be listening to, as well as Darwin and Peggy, and the list goes on and on and on. Thank you so much for your continued support and listenership. I don't know, I need to find KZZH. Their call letters, so I could give them a shout out. But thank you so much for picking up Jacques Talks. And we're also releasing Paul Kritz, the manager here at KFUG, has been steadily uploading my past shows onto YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and look under KFUG or Redwood Voice, or just look under KFUG radio, and my picture will come up. I see Paul has alluded on some interesting pictures that I have posted in the past of myself talking about this very show. So look that up if you want to go back and listen to any shows that might interest you. And there'll be a small disclaimer there at the beginning that what it is that you'll be listening to. All right, we are into something that I don't even think most of us have come to think about. I don't think there are too many of us that think we are complete religious zealots. Certainly not me. I have a background in Christianity, and my brother, I was a Baha'i for many years, about 4 or 5 years. My other brother-in-law and sister are Buddhist. Dr. Gigi practices Buddhism. There's lots of influences and religions, mainstream religions, and others, that are vying for our attention, that are wanting us to become disciples of that religion and spread the word. And for me, I got to look at everything critically. If a religion comes to me and says, "Hey, you ought to be one of us," and I'll tell you why, and then they go through their litany of laundry list of things why it's such a good religion, I would contemplate it. I would consider it. I'd be open to it. I'm not a mean guy. I don't slam the door on missionaries and Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons and any religious group that reaches out, knocks on my door, takes the time. I give them the time of day. I listen to them for a short time, and usually then just, hey, everything's okay in my life. I feel good about it, but I appreciate it very much. And then close the door. If those same people came to me, or other religious groups came to me, and the first thing they said was, "Hey, guess what? You got to become a member of our church. And here's the list of rules and regulations and terms and agreements that you will sign. Sign it off gladly, and you will become one of our devotees. And you better pay us for it too." Well, you know what most of us would do, don't you? That's what the middle finger was invented for, is you would give that group, that disciple, that devotee, that part of the congregation, the big middle finger. And you'd say, "Get the hell off my property, get the hell away from me, and leave me alone, don't ever come back." We'd slam the door on them. But how about if I told you that truly, we already do this? All of us. No, wait. All of us? Yes. All of us. 8 billion people on earth, by most reckoning, are devotees of this religion. Male, female, doesn't matter who, what, when, where, what your issue might be, what you do, how you do it. If you're honest, dishonest, it doesn't matter. It's yin and yang combined. And I'll tell you what it is, folks. For in the palm of our hands lies a pocket-sized deity, a digital God that billions and billions and billions more worship daily. Welcome to the Cellular Church. This radio show, for the first 25 minutes, will explore humanity's most pervasive modern religion. It's called the cell phone. All right. Hold back. Hold, Jack. All right. Pull it back. Wait a minute. That's not a religion. Well, let's see if it isn't. Or is it? Or isn't it? Or is it? I don't know, but let's give the facts. Never before in human history has a single object commanded such devotion from so many. As of 2024, there are an estimated 8 billion smartphone users worldwide, surpassing the followers of Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism combined. That's a lot of people, folks. With over 15 billion, you know what a billion is? How many dollar bills does it take? $1 billion bills stretches to the moon and back? It's a lot. That's a big number. There are over 15 billion mobile devices already in circulation. That means it's over 2 for every person on Earth. Are we approaching a technological rapture or a paradise or nirvana? You be the judge. I'm looking at the table. I just silenced my phones before. My phones. I have an Android and an Apple. Why? Because, well, I've had an Apple for years, and then I had to drop my phone number, which was horrible, that I had to lose this number I'd had for years because of a family member that wasn't a plan, didn't pay the bill, and she died, actually. And so everybody lost their numbers. So I got an Android. So now I have an Apple, so I could communicate with all my Apple people when I'm in Wi-Fi. And I could still do FaceTime, and I could still get texts and things like that, but only with Apples. So I got this Android, and now I got an Android. It's bigger, it's sleeker, it's cooler. It's a Motorola 2024. I got it from Cricket up in Brookings, $45, $15 a month, unlimited text and phone with limited Wi-Fi. So I picked that up on my if I'm in Wi-Fi, then I pick it up anyways. That's my situation. So I got two. I'm looking at them right now. They're on the desk. Hi. Hey, let's have a naming contest. So there's over 15 billion of these things, 2 for every person on Earth. And our cellular gods, they demand our constant attention. And guess what? We willingly oblige. Oh, we do. We bow our heads in reverence to the little temples that we hold in our glowing hands. When you go to an airport, when you go to church, when you go anywhere, you see people bowing their head in reference to this little glowing deity that glowing in their hands. If it's not in their hands, guess what? It's glowing in their pants. Yep, you are guilty of it. I am too. I thought I'd never be this way, but guess what? It's just so convincing. It's so powerful. It's so wonderful. We have these little temples that we carry around with us. And just like ancient religion, we subscribe to this new cellular faith without truly comprehending its mysteries. Ooh, we blindly, and I mean blindly, you've done it too. I have done it. When I just got my new Android, I had to accept all these, I just kept scrolling, accepting all these terms and conditions. And I did press. I just scrolled through it and pressed, I agree. I put my life on, I agree. I submit to this thing that's listening to us all the time, that's tracking us all the time, that is part of our lives, regardless if we really realize it or not. And guess what? Do you know many people today that don't have one? I know one person. I mentioned his name earlier, Darwin. Darwin in Missouri. Hey, Darwin, what's going on, man? He's the only guy I know that doesn't have a cell phone. But then I did learn he did have one little flip phone somewhere in the back of his car that he occasionally uses when he travels. So maybe, yeah, okay, Darwin's going to be my one person that I know. I know a lot of people, folks. I travel, and I get around, and I'm on a radio show, and I do all this. I have lots of friends. Everyone, hands down, every single one of us carries our little pocket deity. If some of these other older faiths ask us to lay it down, its commandments, like we do for our phones, guess what? It would spark revolt immediately, and it would come collapsing down on itself. People would get fired up. I'm not going to agree to that condition. What the hell are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. But we don't do that with cell phones, do we? We acquiesce without question to what it asks and demands of us. Our smartphones have become omnipresent oracles. I like the omnipresent oracles. They are all-knowing entities for which we turn for guidance in every aspect of our lives 24 hours a day if we want. Oh, man. They are our confessors. They are the keepers of our deepest secrets. Ooh, and our desires. Ooh, just a click of a button, and you see and have everything right there in your world and in your hand. They are our saviors. They rescue us from perceived boredom and our loneliness with a promise of endless, and I mean endless, connections. But what future awaits the devotees of our digital religion? Are our cellular gods growing more powerful and ubiquitous every day? Will they enlighten us or ultimately enslave us? These are great questions that I ask you, my faithful and loyal listeners to KFUG, who might be listening to this very program on what? A cell phone. Think back 10 years. 2014. 2014, I think I used to track it, and I was spending up to 2 hours a day on my phone. 10 years before that, 2004, I was just getting my first one. And I was spending maybe an hour on it each day. I was still working with a laptop at that time. Well, look at it now. My usage is up astronomically. It's there. It's the entertainment. It's the life. It's the information God of this world that I could just instantly snap my fingers and touch its lovely lit up screen with all its little icons and all these beautiful colors, and does all these things. And then what about social media? Oh my God, it gets me into social media so easily. Our dependence grows deeper by the day. Here it is, 2024, and we entrust more of our lives to these silicon deities all the time. It also brings devotion and ritual. So, many people check their phones compulsively. Not me. I put out stuff all the time on my phone about this show, about Doc and Jacques show at KCAW, and this one on KFUG and KZZH. It's compulsive now. It's almost like a ritualistic prayer or meditation that I go into. Found out that the average user checks their phones dozens, or should I say it, hundreds of times per day. And I'll bet you there's a billion people that check it 1,000 times a day. What do you think? I wouldn't put it past it. It's an omnipresent thing too. It's a deity that are always with us, and they're always watching, always listening, if we allow them to be, which most of us do. And remember, it's something also called blind faith, where users, we will, again, just accept these terms and conditions without reading them. We just acquiesce all these things. We just give over ourselves with a click of our finger and say, yes, I accept. And we accept cookies too. I don't care about cookies anymore. Sacrifice. People sacrifice. Okay, just like ritualistic religions that used to have sacrifice. We do the same thing now. For people sacrifice their time. People sacrifice their money. And sometimes even their relationships that they have with these devices that are not unlike zealots of traditional religions. Our social media and messaging apps create a vast interconnected community similar to what? Religious congregations. I used to be a Methodist growing up. I was a Methodist. I went to the congregation. It was a great congregation in San Francisco. Man, it was fun. Cecil Williams was up there pounding it down. People went to him and churches like that. And today, I go to Dana Gill on Sunday. But do I have the pocket deity in my pocket? And do I have to silence it? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And you know what it's like. Right in the middle of a sermon or a eulogy or a wedding, certainly enough, somebody's phone, their little God, is going to say, "Ma, wake up. I want more attention than you. You got to turn me off if you..." And we do. We get embarrassed. They proselytize us. We often try to convert others to our preferred brand. I loved Apple. I would always tell people, hey, what do presidents, popes, prime ministers, and CEOs, what do they have? Do they have an Android? Wrong. Bzz, bzz, bzz. They all have Apples. Why? Because of the perceived encryption. You can't bust into an Apple. That's why all the presidents have Apples. That's what they use. Everybody uses Apples. They don't use Androids. They might use it on their side at home for other reasons, but not. So they're always trying to get their preferred brand, like my Apple, or their operating system. And this is reminiscent of religious evangelism. It really is. And then there's the commandments. Remember the commandments. These are the rules of social media etiquette and digital citizenship that can be seen as a modern set of commandments. And we wholeheartedly follow them. Confessionals. People share. Oh, this is a good one. People share their most intimate thoughts and experiences on these social programs and these platforms. that is what? Accessed, delivered, signed, spread by our little pocket deities. And these are Catholic confession is nothing compared to what we spill out onto our world through these social programs brought to us by what? The pocket deity. We worship it. We worship people that created Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. I mean, these people are built their world on computers and cell phones, and we look at them like, oh, Moses and David and Buddha. And we look at these people like, whoa, there's the high priest or priestess. And finally, there's the afterlife. Oh, yes, there's a great promise of afterlife. After all, what's the cloud storage all about? There's a heaven up there, and that's where all of our thoughts and all of our conversations and all of our wonderful things that we deal with in our world, on our cellular deities, our little pocket church, that's where we can look forward to. Everything is stored up there nice and unlimited. Oh, it's unlimited, just like God is unlimited. Wow. I just, folks, I'm pondering these things myself. I'm preaching to you today just because I'm preaching to myself. It just blows my mind how these things happen to us in such an incredible way that we don't even realize what we're doing. Wi-Fi alone. People go into Starbucks. You know why Starbucks started canceling out their free Wi-Fi? And Walmart now. Walmart's really tough. You got to go through a whole bunch of hoops and oh, here comes our guest coming in the door. She's going to come in just a minute because people are watching porn. 70% of all traffic on these Wi-Fi places. Come on in, Jamie. All of these places, these places, they don't want you to do it anymore because guess what they found out? They just look at the URL and they find out that, whoa, people are watching porns in Starbucks. And people don't look, you're reverent to other people because you don't ever sit there and look at somebody's shoulder and they're putting in their password. Oh, that's not good etiquette, is it? I always turn my head automatically. So these are great, great things to ponder. I wish you all good luck and you figuring out about your God, your pocket deity, and all of these wonderful things or bad things that I've just talked to you about. It's something I find fascinating. It's something I want to keep exploring. And it's something where one day we will have some maybe salespeople, some managers, or some owners of cell companies come in and give their take on it. But right now, we are all in reverence, all abiding to our wonderful pocket deity God that we carry in our pants or in our hands. Okay, I am here joined, as promised, by Jamie Daugherty, who has just walked in the door. And Jamie, good to see you. You want to pull your mic right about there? Yeah. How are you?
I'm very good.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me turn that on. Say that again.
I'm very good.
There
Thank
we
you.
go. Okay, I got my microphone. My headphones on. I will take these off shortly. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here.
You are the CEO of Coastal Hospice.
Yes.
You're located here in Crescent City?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jamie came on the show, 4 months ago or so. We had a great conversation, and then she traveled the same day up to the Doc and Jacques show at KCIW, and we had 2 shows that day. So she knows her stuff about hospice. I did give that little prologue about hospice and how important I have found it in my life at the beginning of the show. But it's so good to see Jamie. She's become a friend of Doc and I, and how's the family?
They're very good.
Yeah, everybody's okay?
Oh, yeah.
Is Mark talking anymore?
About the same.
Her husband is such an adorable guy. He's a big guy. He's a nice guy. He's wonderful, great dude. Totally accommodating, totally hospitable. But he's silent. His name should be Silent Sam. He is just quiet as can be. I've tried to get him excited. Everybody will be talking around the table, and for 15 minutes I won't hear a peep from him. Then I'll look at him. I'll go, Mark, you need to be quiet. You're talking too much. And He laughs a little bit, but then he doesn't. He's such a good guy. He's an adorable guy. Well, you make sure you say hello to Mark.
I will.
And the kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell them I got some magic tricks for them next time they come over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have you over. Dr. Gigi heard about that you were coming in on this Jacques Talks. And so she says hello, sends her greetings out to you. So we are now at that halfway point, folks, before we get into talking with Jamie Daugherty, the CEO of Coastal Hospice here in Crescent City and beyond. I got to say, you're listening to KFUG Radio. We are at 101.1 FM. We are located in Crescent City, California. And thanks to the powers that be, the show is being broadcast every Wednesday between 1 and 2. Jacques Talks is here to stay. And, hey, a shout-out to KZZH. No, that's 1, 2. KZZH in Arcata, Eureka, Humboldt region, just south of us. Thanks for listening, all you people down there, and I appreciate your listenership. We will always try to bring interesting people, and if you know of anybody down that section of the woods, please have them come up, and we will talk to your people, your tribe, which is not far from us at all. We're all part of the human family, all under the guise and God of cell phones. All right, Jamie, let me take my headphones off here. So let's see. Last time we talked, we were talking about your position. Okay, so you're the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new store that you opened up there, right?
The medical store, the medical supplies.
Store.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what about the place? Is it on H? It's kind of, it's near the VHF.
Yeah, just across the
Is it
street.
VHW?
VHW.
Veterans of Foreign War. Yeah,
Yes.
VFW.
VFW.
Yeah. And you have a small office there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the back, so maybe it's a big office. And you've been there for how long?
We've actually been at that location over 2 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, but we've been seeing patients here for a year.
And you have another location in Brookings.
Yes, we've been in Brookings since 1967, so
Wow.
a long time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a little bit about the history of hospice in the past on our earlier show. It's been around for a while. It's basically was formulated or put together in the 50s, late 50s, early 60s, and then it spread like wildfire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the mission statement of hospice?
Our mission statement is providing quality, compassionate care at the end of life.
Right.
And so we try to do that with wherever the person is in their life, meeting their needs and the needs of their family.
On their walk through transitioning to death.
Through the last stretch.
Wow. And is it a worldwide organization?
No, actually, it's not. And in my travels, I actually tend to ask people if, is there hospice here? Do you do that? And a lot of different cultures do tend to look at end of life in a different way. Some cultures believe that it's the family's duty and honor to take care of people at the end of life. Some cultures ship them away and don't want to have any kind of exposure to end of life. And then kind of everything in between. Sometimes it's left to whatever religion that is prominent in the area that takes care of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very different.
Would you say people are generally afraid of death?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But we don't admit that. I remember being in a religious group. It wasn't a cellular group years ago, and the question was asked. 25 people in this group. They said, "Are you fearful of death?" And everybody, all 24 of us, said, "Absolutely not." And then one lady at the end says, "Are you guys crazy? Mm-hmm. You're a bunch of phonies. Come on, we're all afraid of death. We don't know." I think. Myself, I think as we get older and we approach that time of death, unless it's tragic or it's like an accident or a quick death or through disease or something, I think we all, as we get older, we accept more and more of it as saying, "Hey, it's just part of life. You kind of figure it out." But hospice, did it start in England? Was it,
Kind of our version of hospice. Yes.
Now, the hospice, I know, and used to have a good friend that was a hospice nurse in England. And in England, you go to a hospice house. You go to the place to die, basically the last 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and you go there. And if you survive, if your health turns back good, then they release you. But here, it's more of, there's no hospice house in the States, right? You send out a legion of nurses and doctors and healthcare workers that go out and visit the people in their home.
There are locations in a larger populated areas where they have hospice houses. So it's called inpatient hospice, and there's nurses that take care of them, and it's only people at the end of life. But and Medicare pays for that.
Yeah.
But it's, like I said, it's in larger populated areas. So we don't have any here. The closest one to here is in Eureka.
There's an actual hospice hospice house.
Yeah. Yep.
Not hospitality house.
Not hospitality.
House of hospitality.
And so, and then in Oregon, it would be closer to Portland and Salem.
Okay, so I just got word from doctor that my brother is got an incurable disease. He unfortunately is going to live for another 6 months. What do you? Is this when hospice kind of gets put into gear, and this is when you send out your saviors, your little angels, whatever you want to call these men and women that come out and
yes,
spread the gospel of hospice.
Right. So once somebody really makes that decision that they are in that last 6 months, we like them to come on to hospice sooner than later. It doesn't have to be, I'm days from my last breath. It can be just about, I want the quality of the last part of my life to be the best it can be. And that's what hospice is. We want all of that time to be quality time. So we want to start a relationship. We want to start the education. We want to start all of those things. And that's, the earlier you start, the better and higher quality that time is going to be.
Amen. Not just to the patient, but you're also dealing with the family and the loved ones that surround that patient that is on their final journey. And you have to deal with those people too.
Absolutely.
Not just the, right?
No, they're all considered on service with us.
The cost of hospice, you mentioned, is it covered by Medicare, Medi-Cal?
Yes, Medicare does pay for hospice. It pays in full, and that's a benefit that's guaranteed to everybody. You have Medicare, then you have a hospice benefit. Medi-Cal does pay for it as well. It's a little bit different, but yes, they definitely pay for it.
So in the scenario of my brother, for instance, which is, I made that up, I'm just saying that, okay, so he's really sick. He's confined to bed. He's having problems getting up to go to the bathroom, eating. He's on the last stages here. How often can a hospice worker come in and be with that person?
Yeah, we have a big team. So we have nurses that are going to come in, and like I said, the more time that you give us to establish that relationship and education, the better that time is going to be. And that means that we've taught about the different medication options that there are to be comfortable. So that's the nurse is going to help with that. We have aides that are going to come out and make sure that, people are clean and comfortable.
Right.
And they can come out 2-3 times a week if that's necessary. Usually they don't need that much care because they have family that are really, but they can.
Correct.
We have social workers that come out and do counseling, and we have a chaplain that comes out and takes part in the spiritual side, and that kind of what's next and those kinds of questions. And so we can be there quite frequently if that's what they want and need. And, we can be there infrequently. We do tend to come closer to daily in that last transition, that kind of almost ready to cross the finish line. We come daily because there's a lot of changing that's happening. A lot of symptoms are changing and a lot of questions.
The duration could be an hour, could be half a day.
Right. Yes. So yes, we could be that pop in for 15, 30 minutes, or we could be there for hours if that's how they need us.
Does anybody come out in the middle of the night?
Yes, we do. You call us, you need us, you'll talk to a nurse, and between the two of you, you'll decide if the nurse needs to visit.
Okay. Everybody grab their pen and paper, because today's guest, Jamie Daugherty, here in the KFUG Jacques Talk studio, is going to dispel some of her information that you need to know, especially if you are dealing with someone that might possibly be entering the last stages of their life. Technically, all of us are in the last stages of our life. We don't know what was going to come up. A tsunami could hit in 15 minutes. We don't know. So get your pens and papers ready, and then we'll return shortly to get her phone number and website and social media and Facebook and all that stuff about thing. How long did you start with hospice? What is your background?
Well, I graduated nursing school in 2004, so 20 years now, and went directly into pediatrics in the hospital. But I
locally here, where?
No, Washington.
Washington State.
Yeah, Washington State. And then but I did pretty much everything you can do in a hospital. I did. So labor and delivery, nursery, orthopedics. So a lot of joint replacements, post-surgical, med surge. That's your general, you get sick, you have pneumonia or whatever.
Right.
And so I did all of that. I did a short time as occupational health nurse at Harry and David for a year. Cool. And learned about that. And that's when I jumped over to home health and hospice. And so that was...
So you've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And it's been primarily located up in Brookings. Where's the location? Where's the address up in Brookings?
Brookings is at 585 5th Street.
585 5th Street. So it's up behind the grocery outlet and the O'Reilly's auto parts store right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're just up there on the same side, up behind the grocery outlet on 5th Street. And that's a nice newer building, right? I mean,
it is nice. Yep. We purchased that building in 2019.
Yeah, it's a great.
And then
building.
It took a couple years to renovate. It's an older building. It was built in 1980, and it's been a medical building almost its entire existence.
Cool.
And so right now we share the building with Coastal Medical Supplies. And so we have medical supplies that we sell.
What's the number one medical supply you sell? Like
that's a good
walkers?
Question. I would say walkers, yeah.
Toilet pans, those kind of things.
Yeah.
You've been there for 6 years?
I have been there 6 years. Yeah.
Okay. How did you finally just applied? You heard this, you're CEO, right? That's your card. You're the big shot.
No, I was working over in Medford, and a recruiter contacted me.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about, I knew about Brookings, but nothing about the medical community
Thank
over
goodness
here.
you're not in Medford today.
Yes.
That's another 100-degree day. Real hot. So it's in Brookings. What's the address again?
585 5th Street.
Okay, so get your pens and papers. You got the phone number there directly? Or, okay, what is that?
541
Okay.
469 0405.
Okay, let me repeat that. It's 541, this is in Brookings, 469 0405. How come I can't have an easy phone number like that, 0405? I got the worst new phone number with my Android god. You can reach out to hospice. It's called, what is it called in Brookings? It's the Coastal?
Coastal Home Health and Hospice.
Coastal Home Health and Hospice. And it's never too late. And it's, but the earlier the better, as you stressed, get in so you could figure out what's going on, what needs are going to be. Are there ever people that that enter hospice stage and then they get better?
Absolutely. Yes. We meet and talk with the team every 2 weeks, and we're always looking at, are they appropriate still? Because we don't want people who are not appropriate. We want them to go on with their life and seek treatment if that's what they want. But the funny thing is that when people find out that they're not appropriate for hospice, it's actually an unpleasant experience for them. They don't want to leave because of the amazing care that they're receiving.
Wow. Well, that's a great compliment to the hospice family. What is a bereavement counselor?
So that is the person that's going to help with the grief that's experienced, and people really don't anticipate that grief begins long before death actually occurs. And so you have this pre-bereavement that is happening that you can get counseling for, and we start preparing people before anybody has died, and then we continue to help and walk people through the grief process
after the person has passed.
passed.
Wow, it's amazing how that has helped myself and so many people that I've been involved. I've made good friends with people that I've met in bereavement groups, which is after the fact.
Correct.
And you get together with people in the same situation as you got. Everybody's different. Everybody's lost their partner or their family member or their mom or dad or sister or brother, whatever it is, possibly through an accident, a tragedy, or slow death over just from old age, disease, whatnot. And you get together with these people. Do you offer those classes?
Yep, we do have a bereavement group. It meets at our building in Brookings on 585 5th Street, the first and third Tuesdays.
First and third Tuesday.
Yes, at 3 p.m.
At 3 p.m. And it lasts, what, an hour?
Usually
Hour and a
about
half?
an hour, yeah.
I have had, do you have a new bereavement counselor? There's several of them.
We have several, yes, we do.
They're not too talkative. They're there for you.
Well, yeah, they're really facilitators. They're there
facilitators. There you go.
Really answer questions, but it's not about them. It's about, the people that are attending.
Yeah, tell me more about that. What do you mean it's not about them?
It's not about our facilitators. The grief group is there. You go there to experience other people's experiences.
Loss, yeah.
And then share your own when you're ready. And there is a giant catharsis with sharing your experience about whatever your feelings are. There's never a right or wrong answer. No one's ever wrong about anything that they share. And to know that you're not alone, to know that there's others experiencing this is a giant relief.
A big relief, yeah, with a capital R. I agree with you.
Yes,
That's what it was for me. I was always looking for somebody that had lost their partner tragically, like I had lost my partner. And it was just when I finally found somebody who said, yeah, my son died in a car crash. And it was like there's some bonding there. It's so, in a way, morbid and weird, but it was relieving to me to think that, there's other people have gone through this symptom. What about it's not about, generally speaking, stepping away from bereavement, going into, I think you mentioned it before, where it's not about the family. It's not about what the family wants. It's what the patient that is dying wants. That's the ultimate goal, right?
Absolutely.
To be there for that person.
Absolutely. It's really their experience, right? It's
their experience, yeah.
So we want that, whatever their goal is, we want to help them with that. Some, it's about pain. It's some people's goals are really about their family. I don't want my family to, suffer or, witness or, be a burden to, or, one of those things. So we help with that. Whatever those kinds of goals are, we can help with those.
What about pain management? Do hospice workers, I know some people are in horrible pain, like the end stages of bone and breast cancer or something. Horror. They're just in constant pain. Are there drugs for those purposes, those
Absolutely.
reasons?
Our nurses are extremely experienced with pain management, and so not everyone is going to find relief the same way. And so we have a lot of techniques and tools that we can use, definitely medication, but others as well that can help with people's pain.
Yes. And then others just are slow decline, right? I mean, just my mother was not in pain. She wasn't. She was just she was ready to go.
Yeah.
88 years old, 7 children. She was worn out. She just went over the veil quite easily. Other people like my dad who just at 91 just dropped dead. Boom, it was gone. Didn't have to have hospice in the realm, but I'll never forget from my mother and from a friend of mine when I was a younger man who had hospice. I got involved in the hospice. Fantastic group. So the phone number they could reach Jamie Daugherty and Sutter Coast. No, the one up in Brookings I'm talking about. What is it?
Coastal Home Health and Hospice.
Coastal. It's not Sutter. We're going to talk about Sutter here in just a minute. Coastal, I am so sorry. I got the note there. Can reach out to hospice at 541-469-0405. Okay, when last I spoke with you, there was a situation where Sutter Coast Hospital was looking to get into hospice care. This was which is okay, yeah, right? Everybody's... it's okay for them to do whatever they want to do, pursue different avenues, but there was some wait a minute, do we have to have 2 of these? Or should we have 2? Is that come to any resolution? Is Sutter going to be working with you at all, or are you going to combine your services, or what's happening?
I actually don't have any updates from them, so I'm not sure where they are in the process, but I definitely know that we will partner to make sure that everybody's taken care of and gets what they need. But
is Crescent City considered a small hospice market? I mean, we're rural after all.
We are very rural. We are a very small market. And so really that means that there's a potential for, staffing concerns.
Yes.
And, but, some people really love Sutter and they, want to stay with them and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's kind of a one pony town. I don't know if there could be that much, but you're providing the service now. You're established. You're doing it. What's the address that people can look you up in Crescent City here?
In Crescent City, we're at 786 H Street, and we're open there 8:30 to 3:30.
Okay, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, and there's somebody always there unless it's a holiday. So you can walk in and ask questions, or give us a call.
Is there a different number?
You can reach it through the same number.
Okay,
we do have a local number though, 707-460-6191.
6191, and that's a area code 707-460-6191, and that's for Coastal here. And the thing, it may be of interest to you, I just recently ran into Mike Lane, who will be a guest on the show and Jacques and Doc and Jacques show. He is the CEO of Sutter Coast, and he took over from Mick Hanna. And I asked him, what's going on? Just the other day.
Oh, okay.
I said, what's going on? What's the latest developments? What do you got going? And he talked about everything going on, except he didn't say anything about hospice.
Oh, okay.
He just went right over it. He didn't. So what's happening? You're involved in this and this. He just didn't even go down that avenue. So that's the latest that I heard.
Okay. Well, I mean, they have a lot of irons in the fire and a lot of growth potential. I'm really excited about the work that they're going to try to do, the residency program that they're going to do. That is going to be so exciting to have for here.
Right.
So, that'll be great to listen to.
Right now, it is the only show in town in Crescent City. Coastal Hospice is here for our community, for this area, to deal with our families and our loved ones that are on that final stage or not. Again, you have mentioned it before, and you mentioned today that some people come out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They think they're on a downward spiral, and
yeah, it's really important to know that there is no shot. There's no pill. We don't. A lot of people come in and say, "When are you going to give me the shot?" So it's like,
oh, you mean like the death pill, the black pill, or something?
The black pill. Yeah. When is the And it's like, no. That's absolutely not what we do at all. We just want to make sure that your quality is amazing. You're not gone yet, and we want to make sure that everything that's left is really great.
Do you ever circumvent or go around the doctor? If, let's say, they have a primary physician, do you work with those physicians?
Yeah,
Does hospice
absolutely.
work with them?
Yep,
So
we
you're all
will
on
work
the same
with
page?
them. We'll work with their provider, whoever they decide, but they don't have to be on the same page as their provider.
Yeah.
If they feel like they're ready for hospice and their provider doesn't, that's okay. They can still come see us. We have people come and say that they're interested in our services, and we let them know that they don't qualify yet. They're just not, within that 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's, we don't, just because you come to us doesn't mean you're automatically going to be on service either.
Right. And if you have concerns, let's say, I'm starting to see, my brother has just had a turn for the worse. He's not getting over his cold that he had. He just seems to be getting sicker and sicker. You're saying the earlier you're alerted, the more resources that I can have at my disposal to deal with my brother, who seems to be slipping out of losing his life force, his vigor.
Right.
And he's starting to go down that path that I think. And he's this old and that old, and he's not doing well. Do you find that the elderly that are in hospice care, are they accepting of it? Are they pretty much they're ready to go? When people are ready to go, are they ready to go?
No. Well, and sometimes yes, 100%. Sometimes no, not at all. And then there's I'm ready, but my family's not.
Yeah.
And so, so they'll do what their family, what their family wants them to do.
Do people make
so
their birthdays
hard.
a lot? Do people like, I got a birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah, you find that's true?
Yes, absolutely.
You'll find a gal or a guy?
Some kind of significant, a wedding, a baby wanting to be born, those kinds of things. We help them to try
What's
and do
the
that
youngest
too.
patients you have worked with in hospice? Real
I
young?
think 28.
Oh, 28, okay.
Yeah. We don't do pediatrics. There just isn't enough here. They generally go to a larger populated area, Stanford sometimes, something like that.
And I assume that 28 is going to be, it was a cancer of some sort, right? So you're dealing with dealing with that, and you're dealing with the family. And then you also offer this bereavement counseling. You deal with the grief afterwards. It seems like just a full package that you provide for people on their spiritual and physical journey of this life into the next, right?
Yes, and you don't even know until you know, and you don't know what you don't know. But our team has been called to this work. It is not an easy feat to see people who are at the end day and day and day.
Yeah.
But they love it. They love what they do. They love caring for these families and these patients, and that really changes the experience. Right
on.
Who wants to be around somebody who's afraid of death? Their nurse is afraid of them dying,
right.
or their nurse doesn't want them to go, and so our nurses and our staff love what they do, and they love helping people achieve an amazing end.
Wow, it's a noble cause. Hospice is so groovy. It's so cool. It's so necessary in our society, and especially in the Crescent City, Brookings, our region, Eureka, Arcata. It's a retiring. A lot of us are here retiring, so we're entering that last stage. All right, I've been talking with Jamie Daugherty for a short time. We got to do this again. I love talking about this. Hospice has helped me in my past extremely well, wonderfully, and so thank you for coming on today. You can reach Jamie at 541-469 0405. Are you on social media too? Is there
Yes.
Facebook?
We have Facebook, Coastal Home Health and Hospice.
Okay, Coastal Home Health and
And
Hospice.
we have a website is coastalhhh.org.
Okay, there you heard it first, folks, right here on Jacques Talks. We've been talking with Jamie Daugherty the past half hour. Prior to that, put your cell phones down, unless you're listening to it, this broadcast on your cell phone. I really enjoyed today. We had a good talk about the pocket deities that we all carry in our pockets, but then to be joined by Jamie on short notice was a real special treat. Want you and Mark and the kids to come over soon, and we'll all have a celebration. All right?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jamie Daugherty with Coastal Health and Hospice.
Thank you.
All right. All right, folks, that's it for me. It's 15 minutes before the hour. Amanda Doctor's in the room to take over with Squirrel Interrupted. You've been listening to KFUG 101.1 FM here in Crescent City. Hope to see you and hear you next week. Peace and love to everybody. Bye-bye.